Hello, everybody. Welcome to the channel. If you've not been here before, this is Hillbilly Crime, and my name is Elizabeth, your friendly hillbilly host. And this is Sweet Tater, my mother. Say hi, Mom.
Hello, just hanging out to be sure she behaves herself.
That's right. I
I
knew.
got to keep her on a short leash. She's almost 50, but
Everybody needs a mama to keep us in check. Absolutely. So today we're going to talk about cleaning up our criminal record. Um, it's a lot easier than what some people may think. I know that most of us probably are already familiar if you have a criminal record, anything on your criminal record, it affects you with your jobs. It affects any kind of employment. Um, and so, one thing that I learned over my own experience and lifetime is with these, a lot of people have dismissed charges on their record. If you've ever been charged with something, or your kid's been charged with something, or somebody in your family or a loved one has been charged with something and it has been dismissed, well, you can have those expunged for free in the state of Kentucky now. And remember, I'm not a lawyer. I'm just like you guys, but we have to have some kind of an understanding and um, kind of have a little bit of knowledge about our criminal justice system. Um, so everybody come on in. Let's see, we've got Genevieve, one of my favorite topics. There we go. I'm going to show you how simple it is to file your own paperwork and stuff without having to have an attorney. When I checked into getting an attorney to help me with mine, they wanted $5,000 just to take the case and to do it. Well, no, I didn't have $5,000 to pay, first of all. And then I just kind of figured it out on my own. Mom helped me when we did it, and we just figured it out. And I'm going to show you all how easy it is. Michael Barrett. Good evening, ladies. Indie Girl 57. Hello, ladies. Tamale 79. Hello, everyone. I just wish that people could understand the difference between a charge and a conviction. Yeah, a lot of us don't understand these terms. So when you're charged with something, you're still, according to what they say, you're innocent until proven guilty, until you either take that plea bargain or you plead guilty or you go to trial and they find you guilty. Um, um, and, and if it's a charge that is ultimately dismissed, that's not a conviction. And it doesn't cost anything to have those removed from, it doesn't cost anything. Now, let's go ahead and go over here to where I want to be to show you guys. Okay, so all I did was go to Google and I put in Kentucky expungement, and it took me to the Kentucky Court of Justice, and I put the link in the description of this video. So if anybody wants to go do it themselves, you can just go to that link in the description if you don't want to Google it yourself. And so here at the top, it says steps to obtain an expungement certification. So this is the first step that you'll have to go through. Now it does charge you a fee to get the certification, but this is separate from what you have to pay at the clerk's office at the courthouse. So you can do it online here, and that's how I went and did mine. So the number one, you're going to register at the registration site. An email account is required and will be verified during registration. So you can click on that little link right there, and it'll take you to the registration site, and you just fill out your stuff, complete the online request form, and they've got a little link right there, so you can just click on that and go to the request form. Submit for a $40 payment. Now that'll be your payment that it charges you for your fee, and it accepts all forms of payment, so you can put your credit card or whatever in there. Check your email for notification when the certification packet is available online. So, what it does is it'll send you an email. So, whenever you fill out that little form, it'll ask you what charges or what you're wanting to get expunged. And you just put in there whatever it is, and then it'll send you an email with a certification packet to your email. It says log into the registration site to download the certification packet, and then file the certification documents and the proper expungement petition with the Office of Circuit Court Clerk in the county where the original charge was filed. So, say you live in Letcher County and you had a charge or you had a case in Fayette County. So you're going to have to fill out that form that it says. You're going to end up filling out the expungement petition, which it's just a little form that you can get at the clerk's office. I think you can even get it online too. I'll go Google that up, and I'll put it in the description too, after we get off of here. And then so you'll file it in the county at the courthouse where the charge originated from. And if it's a dismissed case, it doesn't cost you anything. But if it's like a conviction, if it's a case that you were convicted, I'm not sure if it's changed any, but back when we did mine, it was several years ago. We did it, and I'm wanting to say that if it was a misdemeanor conviction, it was only $100 per case, not per charge. So if you had like 5 charges under one case number, you would still only have to pay it one time. You don't have to pay it for all 5 of the charges. You just pay it per case. And I'm pretty sure you pay that at the clerk's office when you turn all that paperwork in. But if it's a felony charge, if it was a felony conviction, I'm pretty sure, it used to be like $500 per case, but I don't know if that's changed any. So you would have just make sure that you ask the clerk in the county that you're doing it in. But it's very, very simple. And then they will set you a court date for you to come to court, and you'll go in there and just tell them that you're wanting to expunge your record, and it's pretty simple, unless, of course, something else happens. But if that's all you're wanting to do is get some of the charges expunged off of your record, you can do it yourself. You don't have to have an attorney to do that for you. Hold on to your honeys, ladies. We are getting rocked by the storms here in Tennessee. Oh, well, we will sure pray that it will blow on over. You can use AI like ChatGPT to tell you how to file things. I just filed a complaint against a sheriff myself for non-compliance of public records requests. Well, honey, you are in the right place tonight because we're going to talk about that too. We are going to talk about, I'm going to show you all where the Hazard police chief just got fired for arresting a guy who came in, and that's just like 30 miles up the road. A fella came in. He had a YouTube channel like we do, and he went in there trying to request some public records, and he was videoing, and the chief of police didn't like it, and he arrested him, and now they've got a civil suit against the city, and the chief got fired for it. So we're going to look at that case here in just a second. And then I'm going to show you another video on a district attorney's office who was fighting against some public records requests, and just the absolute arrogant behavior of these lawyers blows me away. Chris Cahill says there are also pretrial diversions, which are part of the court system. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And Genevieve says it's just raining here in West Tennessee. Okay. All right. So let me go over here and pull this up. I put the link to the guy who went in asking for these public records. I put a link to his YouTube channel in the description of the video too, so you guys could see it if you want to go there and look at it. I don't know if I'm allowed to play it or not, but I put it in the description. Hazard police chief fired amid lawsuits. All right. The police chief of Hazard was fired by the city commission on Monday. Hazard City Manager Tony Eversole confirmed the firing of Police Chief Darren Williams to WEKU. He says the city commission wanted to go in a different direction. That comes as a federal lawsuit was filed last month by former Deputy Chief Jessica Cornett towards Williams, Eversole, and the city. She claims she was wrongfully retaliated against and fired after reporting excessive use of force by Williams against a Perry County citizen. That includes confiscating her patrol vehicle and personal property from her office, placing disciplinary actions into her personnel file without notice, and directing other officers to file complaints against her. When you get on their wrong side, honey, they'll take you down. Another lawsuit from Perry County's Dallas Campbell, so that's the fellow with the YouTube channel, alleges he was wrongfully arrested by Williams after trying to submit an open records request and charged with menacing and disorderly conduct. That request included the names of officers at the Hazard Police Department, along with their salaries and hire dates. Campbell filmed the altercation and uploaded it to his YouTube channel. The suit alleges the recording was deleted from Campbell's cell phone without his consent during the arrest. Of course it was, though the footage was later recovered. The charges from Campbell's July arrest have since been dismissed. But guess what? He'll still have to go to court and have that expunged off of his record if he doesn't want it to continue to show. That is all on our part. It doesn't matter if they screwed up. It doesn't matter. Once it's on there, it's on there. And it's up to us to get that kind of stuff taken off. It's not really fair, I don't think, but still. Just so y'all know, you can get that kind of stuff taken off. Eversole says he'll help supervise the Hazard Police Department as they search for a new police chief with the department's highest ranking official overseeing day-to-day operations. So that was just about 30 minutes up the road. And then here's his channel. Let's see.
Oh, yeah, they will. That's absolutely public record.
You can ask them, unless you work here, they have.
Well, just take my request and send it to your clerk and they'll deny it.
I am the clerk, honey. I'm trying to figure it out, but you can lose that attitude. You don't have to be rude and towards me.
I ain't got that too.
You sound very hateful. You really do.
Sorry you feel that way.
I'm trying to help you, but I'm not understanding what you're saying.
I know.
I can't give you information on the officers. Now, I could give you a list with their name on it and their badge number.
Yeah.
Like, I can't give you like their pay and stuff like that.
It's public record.
They're not.
Y'all got a form?
I don't know. I mean,
You're the records clerk. She's the records clerk.
yeah, but I don't do, like, it's like I do accident reports, honey. Like, like if you get in a wreck and you need to come get that accident report, take it to court or a CAD, is mainly what I'm for.
Right.
I'm not like the payroll clerk and stuff like that. They're hiring someone else to do that. But I'm looking for a request form. I think I have it. This is a dispatch request form. It's not like an exhibit. I don't think that I've got the information request form instead.
They act like they've never been asked for a public records request before.
They just put it in writing that you're requesting records and put down what you got.
Yeah, that's all you got. You can fill it out on a blank sheet. The law says you can fill it out on a blank sheet of paper. Anything. You can fill it out on anything, a records request.
Mhm.
I already got it if y'all want to give me a stamped copy. Huh? Huh?
Are you filming us right now?
Yeah.
You can't do that.
That's illegal in the police station.
I don't think it is.
He's the chief of police, sir.
This is a secure government building. You can't film it. Please turn it off.
I ain't gonna turn it off.
Beat it.
Huh? Beat it.
Beat it. You can't film it. I told you it's illegal.
What's the law?
Well, we print you off the list. It's, I know it's a little harder to
Turn your camera on after it leaves.
What law was that?
I told you this is a secure government building. You cannot film here.
I disagree.
I don't care. Well,
What if I don't leave?
if you don't leave, I'll make you leave. Now, are you gonna leave or not?
Yes, she did.
Comments about him right here was discussed. Why are we doing this?
Because the media should have right to that information.
So you should have a right to come in and argue with the police chief about whether or not you film here. I'm telling you, turn your camera off, leave, give you one more chance. And you're gonna turn your camera off, leave.
Don't touch my camera.
Because I can't, unless I'm about to get sick of you.
Just arrest me.
I am, and I'm waiting on somebody to come down here and arrest me. Don't put my hands on,
No.
let me tell you something. You don't come in here and tell me what to do. This is my police station.
You work for the people, though.
I work for the city of Hazard. I don't work for you. You don't come in here and tell me what to do. You don't come in here and tell me what I have to do and say. You understand that?
There you
Just sit down. Sit down right here. All right. Absolutely ridiculous. You come in and have yourself put in jail for no reason.
So is Kentucky, Jenna.
Well, I know, that's all. I'm telling you.
All right. So that was what happened just right up the road here. Um, and I also wanted to play this other one. Now, this happened a little while ago. Let's see. September 19th, I guess, is when this happened. It was the same day that Mickey and Judge Mullins, that happened with them, actually. It was September 19th. And so just to kind of fill you in on what it is, so you have this lawyer who put in a public records request to a DA's office, a district attorney's office, and they sent her back some of the records. And so they ended up having to take them to court for it to happen.
So I think you.
And I just want you all to listen. The woman is her name is Merchant. Her last name, it's Ashley Merchant. She's one heck of a lawyer. And this guy that's on the stand here is one of the lawyers. He's the records custodian. Okay, so he's the guy who is actually, it's his job to fulfill public records requests. But I want you all just to see the attitude that these people have and the entitlement and just the arrogance. It blows me
You
away.
already, or I was asking you to please state and spell your name for the record, and then I will deliver it over to Ms. Merchant to begin her questioning.
My name is Dexter Q Bond Jr., Dexter, middle initial Q, Bond, I am a junior.
Great, thank you so much, Ms. Bond. Can you tell us what your job title is?
I am the Deputy of Operations for the Office of Fulton County District Attorney's Office.
Does that include being the records custodian?
Yes, among many things.
And before we get into the documents, I want to talk to you a little bit about the portal, how that's set up. If first, let's talk about at the time that I made the request in January of 2024. Was there a website link on the DA's website for open records at that point in time?
In January, yes, there was a link on our website, yes.
And when a person clicked on the link on your website, it took them to the county attorney's open records portal, correct?
Yes.
And there was a drop-down box if they went to that open records portal to request records from the district attorney's office.
And I can't speak to that because I don't request records from the District Attorney's Office.
Okay. So at some point in time from then till now, was that landing page from the DA's office website removed?
I don't have information to that, I don't know.
Do you know if the open records page, the page that the public would go to, if that link was ever altered?
Are we talking from, give me a time frame.
From January until now. So what we just talked about was in January. If I went into the DA's office website, I clicked on open records, it took me to the portal.
Yes.
A month ago, if I went on the DA's website, clicked, and there was no open records link at that point.
I cannot speak to that. I do not monitor that site on a daily basis. I do a lot of things for the office, but that is not one.
Okay, so you cannot speak to whether or not there was an open records portal site or portal link on the DA's website.
No, I answered that question. There is an open records link on the DA's website. You will click the link, you can go into the portal, you can request open records request as you, right? Oh,
So there was one in January and there is one now, right?
to my knowledge, yes.
Do you know if it was removed at any time over the last 9 months?
I cannot speak to that.
Okay, thank you. Who could?
I don't know. I don't maintain that particular website. Once the information is placed in the portal,
I'm trying to ask how the public asks you for open records.
And I'm saying that the DA's office has a website, as you know. The DA office has a link that you can use. The DA's has once you click that link, it goes to a portal, which you have used several times. And once you go into the portal, you can put in your request. That's what I'm saying.
Are you able to testify if over the last 10 months that process has been in place?
I don't object just based on the fact that the availability of the link in the portal is not an issue in this case, and it's not an issue pertinent to whether the records were provided.
Ms. Merchant, is there a reason, is what you're really trying to get to that for the entirety of the last 10 months, Mr. Bond or someone else would be tasked with and subject to complying with open records? Or are you really trying to ask if there's an actual portal button on that website for the whole last 10 months?
I'm trying to figure out if they've had, so once I made my request in January, I had to make follow-up requests and it went away. And I wasn't able to continue to make those follow-up requests, which is part of what, when we continue to make the requests.
Okay.
Forgive me, I'm gonna reframe your question and you make sure that I'm not reframing it appropriately, right? Your time frame at issue is from January to the present, and you are asking me at any time, did that particular process?
Yes.
The answer is yes.
Okay.
May I explain?
Please.
Because of the cyber attack. I do know, if I'm familiar, that you received an open records request saying that, hey, we are under a cyber attack, this will require a delay, and I do know that this portal is not maintained by my particular office, right? I think you and I can agree with that they made some modifications. So if your question is, look at 10 months, did something change from the routine? The answer is yes. The reason why is because of the cyber attack.
I'm just gonna interject very briefly. You're like me, you're naturally a fast talker. And for the benefit of the court reporter, she's already asked us once to slow down, so if you'll try to be more conscious about speaking slowly so she can take it down, okay?
Yes,
Thank you, sir. Go ahead, Ms. Merchant.
And I just want to make sure I understand. So it changed because of the cyber attack. So that portal link was at some point disabled or not available?
So you asked me, did something change? I reframed the question to make sure that we were on the same page, right? I told you, yes, something did change. I gave you an answer as to why that did change, and that was as it relates to the cyber attack. Again, the framing of your question was from January to the present for the last 10 months, right? And enter in your question, you asked me something about the last 10 days. So forgive me.
10 months, I'm sorry.
You said 10 months, but you also said 10 days. I asked you a follow-up as it relates to the framing, right? I've answered that question from January to the present. I have told you that the reason why that has changed is because of the cyber attack. I've also told you that I do not maintain that website on a daily basis.
My question was, how has it changed? You said it's changed. My question is, how has it changed?
I cannot answer that question. What I can say is that from 2021 to the present, the DA's office has had access that allow constituents like yourself to request open records. That link is displayed on our website. Once you click that link, you can go into the county's portal. I've also told you that I do not monitor that website on a daily basis. So if you're asking me how, I cannot answer that question. But if you're telling me to look at the last 2 months, if it has changed, I am telling you a cyber attack has required a lot of things, including open records, to change.
You monitor the open records portal.
Do I monitor it on a daily basis? No.
Do you monitor it at all?
Yes.
How often do you monitor it?
On an as-needed basis.
As needed.
Yes.
How do requests come to you?
You go to the link, you put in, it goes into the portal.
Oh, sorry, and just to save time, I'm not asking how I do it, I'm asking how they come to you.
Once a staff member on my staff, a designated staff member for open records request, receive the open records. If it's standard, like the many of you have supplied, we can go ahead and give you a responsive record, right? If it's not standard and it requires an elevation of some sort, then it is elevated to me by a staff member.
Elevated to you?
Elevated to me by
Okay.
a staff member.
So the first sort of triage is the staff member reviews it, determines that they can just answer it quickly.
I would say that, yes.
And then if it's something that's more elevated, can you describe what something more elevated would be?
I'll do it the opposite way if I can. If you're looking for an invoice, a particular invoice, and that invoice has been commonly requested, my staff knows that this is a particular invoice. And for efficiency purposes, we get that responsive document to you as quickly as possible. And then if you're talking about something that is exempt or possibly exempt, that's an example of something that's going to be elevated. And not in this particular case, but in some cases, my exemptions include open and active investigations. So in those particular cases, that'll be elevated.
Were my requests elevated?
You have to be more specific. You know, you gave me about 4.
Were any of my requests elevated?
Yes, ma'am.
Were any of my requests not elevated? Narrow it down.
I'm going to say yes because 40 was not presented to me. I know that you are a frequent open records requester. I know that we have responded to open records requests. I am familiar that you, I would say dozens, and I would not say that all dozens have been presented to me. Those have been closed out based on my monitoring. So I am comfortable saying that all have not been elevated to me.
And you said I did 40 open records?
I said dozens, maybe 40. I feel comfortable saying dozens. I know,
They're maintained on the open records portal, right?
yes, I'm pretty sure they are. So maybe 40, maybe 30, but I know it's a lot.
It gets better. This guy's a trip.
Would it surprise you that it was less than 12?
Oh yeah, I think I'll be surprised with that.
Okay, well, let's go through them in a minute. We'll go through the specifics.
May I ask a follow-up? 12 an issue or 12 total?
In total,
Since when? January to the present?
correct, since Ms. Willis was DA.
That would surprise me. That would surprise me.
They often think they do so much more work than they
Employee
actually
manual that you use
do.
in your office, right?
Yes,
And that governs, it also talks about open records requests.
I believe so, yes.
And if you want to look, we've got, these have been admitted previously. This is merchant 0602. I believe the county attorney supplied this, I'm assuming from your office. Does that look like, you can look at it on your screen, part of the employee handbook that's given to new hires that Ms. Willis created?
Mr. Vaughn's eyes maybe better than mine, but you might need to make it bigger, because my screen's pretty small and I'm struggling.
Yes, I agree.
So that's okay. Thank you.
This guy's a lawyer too, so he's good.
So
at
that looks like
telling
a section regarding open records compliance.
Yes, at first glance, yes, 6.6, Open Records Act compliance.
Okay. And it says that all open records requests submitted by members of the public will be handled by the open records officer. Is that you?
It will be handled through the portal, so no, not necessary. It will be handled under my leadership.
Okay. And so handled under your leadership, go through the portal. It also says that DA employees should consider all communications that occur on county email, cell phones, and other county-owned technology to be considered open to a FOIA request.
Subject to no exceptions, yes. So I think that's consistent with the Open Record Act. I would agree with you.
Okay, so subject to no exemptions, county email and cell phone communications would be something that you would provide in records.
General rule, but I think you and I can agree certain things exception. I work with 385 staff members. Of those 35, about 150 or so are attorneys, and we know that there's exemptions. So anything that they're working on as it relates to attorney work product or confidentially hourly work product are exempt. So yes, this is the general rule, but I don't want the general rule to be mistaken as the norm.
Right, I understand, definitely, there's statutory exceptions.
You and I are same page.
The statute's the
And to
statute.
be clear, the employee handbook, while it is helpful guidance, doesn't change what the statutory obligation is one way or the other, so.
No, and the reason I'm asking him is the process in their office, to try to understand this process.
And if I can clarify, I think the second sentence is certainly important, right? I know that our employees, again, I alluded to the size of the office, 385 approximately. We want to make sure that staff members who receive open records requests know what to do with it. So I think that was the angle.
Okay, so the employees receive this and they are told that they need to forward it to legal counsel of the district attorney when they get something.
At the time of that writing, yes, legal counsel.
This is the current handbook, though, right?
Uh,
I'll represent it's the one that your office provided earlier this week through Ms. Monroe.
I would say yes. If your representation is correct, I would take that as this is the correct one.
And legal counsel, right now it's Ms. Abbasi, I don't want to say her name wrong.
Alibi.
Alabi, Ms. Alabi is legal counsel now. It was Mr. Armstrong before, correct?
Yes, he was at one point.
Okay. So according to this, Mr. Armstrong or Ms. Alabi would be copied on all open records requests received by employees?
So, no, let me deviate. The answer to that is no. The reason why is we had several different legal counsels since 2021, and based on their strengths, weaknesses, or expertise would determine whether or not legal counsel will handle that. I had legal counsel before. That was his expertise. He felt comfortable handling it. I cannot say if Kevin Armstrong handled open records, so I want to be clear. As it relates to Andrea Allaby, a dynamic attorney, however, open records is not something that she handles.
So if a member of the public was reading this and at the time they made their request, Kevin Armstrong was legal counsel, it'd be reasonable for them to think that Kevin Armstrong would be apprised of their open records requests. Assuming this is followed.
No.
No.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. This also, let's see, if we go down a little bit more, it talks about emails. Let's see, email communications. This advises employees that emails are monitored, and essentially that means that you're telling them you have access to emails, or the office has access to emails, correct?
You have to tell me the line. The way that I read that is, if my district attorney, Fleming T. Willis, requires us to look at emails. So 3 times a day is our standard.
If you look under section 6.9, the third line, it says to ensure compliance with this policy, computer and email usage may be monitored. Does that mean that the district attorney's office can monitor computers and emails?
Not necessarily, well, can we? Yes.
Can, that was the question.
Yes.
Okay, so you have access to emails?
Yes. I do have some. Let's be clear.
Some.
Some emails, yes.
Access to county files? On county computers or county phones?
Yes.
So on a county computer file email system, you've got access to emails.
When you say you,
Your office, I'm sorry.
okay.
And when I say you, it's been represented, and we can pick a term if you want, but as that you're the man for open records. You're in
Okay.
charge of all of this. So
So the answer to your question is, as in you, as in Dexter, right? Yes, I will have access to that.
Okay.
Well, I will request access. Is that better?
yes.
Okay.
And so this also, if you look at, let's see, after where it says only those who are directly supervised by the district attorney can send emails directly to her. So is that policy that someone who's not supervised by her is not permitted to send emails directly to her?
We have a strict chain of command, so I think that is true.
Okay, so it's reasonable then for a member of the public who is trying to see emails to assume that emails would go through a supervisor before they went to the district attorney.
That would be a general practice. I think so.
As an open records custodian, part of your job is to be familiar with the rules with record retention, right?
Yes, to a degree.
And so you've got to, and that's actually in the, if you look on the same page, if you go up a little bit, there's a policy for record retention, and it says that all records are maintained in compliance with the state of Georgia's retention schedule. Would you agree with that as the policy of your office?
That is the policy.
So any records that the public is trying to access, they can assume based on the policy of the office that you're going to retain them based on the state of Georgia's retention policies.
That is an accurate assumption based on the policy.
Okay. While we're on this document, if you flip to the next page, 0603, it talks about county cell phone policy. It says that all investigators or attorneys are required to have a.
I learned a whole lot about what all we are able to request from an open records through this video. So I just wanted to stop it and let y'all this video is amazing for educational purposes. Even though it's a Georgia case, it's still the knowledge that I gained from watching this was unreal.
County cell phone, and the text messages, recordings, and photos within that cell phone are the property of the county. So that means that if someone did an open records request for those types of documents, that's in the county's property, right?
This is what get here. As it relates to Fulton County's property, the answer is yes.
So it says they're required to have a county cell phone. So an attorney is required to have a county cell phone. Let's use an example. Jeff DeSantis is required to have a cell phone, county cell phone, correct?
He doesn't work as an attorney in my office. If you're going through your analogy, you give me an attorney. I can't speak for Jeff.
And I'm looking, it just says all investigators and attorneys.
Jeff isn't an attorney.
He's not an attorney?
I don't, in the capacity of my office, no, he doesn't act as an attorney.
So.
An ADA, yes, is required to have a cell phone. An investigator.
Are you saying that Jeff DeSantis doesn't have a county cell phone?
No, I'm not saying that. You presented the analogy that all investigators and attorneys are. I understood your analogy. You gave an example of Jeff DeSantis. If your analogy is investigators and attorneys, I want to keep you honest, and I'm letting you know that in the capacity of Jeff DeSantis, he doesn't fall in either category. So I'm following you, and I offered you an opportunity to present someone else, and I gave you an idea of an ADA, because the ADA fits with your example.
Let's back up for a second.
Okay.
Jeff DeSantis, and I was just using him as an apparently unfortunate example. He is the deputy district attorney, correct? That's his job title.
His working title in the office is public relations.
Can I personally research?
Sure.
Thanks. Showing you a printout of the district attorney's website. You take a look at that and see if that refreshes your memory as to what Jeff DeSantis' official title is within your office.
Deputy district attorney.
Thank you.
Overseeing the media relations unit.
Thank you. So the policy that we're looking at, county cell phone, says all investigators and attorneys are required to have a county cell phone. You're saying that not all attorneys and investigators are required to have a county cell phone. Is that accurate?
That's not what I'm saying. To give you an example of Jeff DeSantis, I could not speak specifically as it relates to Jeff DeSantis. I'm not arguing whether or not this policy exists. All investigators and attorneys are required to have a cell phone.
Okay.
That is correct.
Okay, so all unnamed attorney has a cell phone. According to this policy, if that unnamed attorney on their county cell phone is messaging on an app on their county cell phone, and they're recording things, and they're taking photos, screenshots from an app, that's subject to the open records request.
If there's no exceptions, yes.
If there's no exceptions, thank you. Okay, let's move on to one of the requests that I want to talk about, and I have a couple different identifiers if you need them, but it's the critical mention media monitoring. Oh, do you know if Jeff DeSantis has a county cell phone?
No, I do not know that.
You do not know that. Okay. Who would know that? I'm assuming him. Anyone else?
I don't know.
Okay. All right, so let's move on to critical mention media monitoring. If you need me to tell you the request, the open records number request, or exhibits or anything, I'm happy to do that. Just let me know, okay? But I'm going to globally refer to them as critical mention media monitoring.
Okay, I'm gonna stop you here.
Mhm.
I know that we have a lot of critical mentions, so I would prefer, for the clarity of this court, to make sure that we're specific on critical mentions, because I know there's multiple.
Not a problem.
So
There
don't-
are two.
So my ask is don't globally refer to them as critical mentions. If that's
I will
okay
not
with you. Okay,
Can you pull up merchant 0027, please? There are two requests. This one, just for your clarification, ends in 010924. This is my first open records request. On January 9th, I requested any and all correspondence, as you can see, to or from critical mention, including copies of contracts, payments, analytics, reports to or from critical mention and any member of the district attorney's office. Would you agree this request is pretty clear and concise?
based on my reading, yes.
And I submitted it through the Fulton County Open Records portal.
January 9th, yes.
And it was received January 9th. It says, if you scroll down a little, it shows it was received that day. That's when they return it with the reference number, that is saying that it was received.
That is correct.
Can you repeat what page you were referencing?
I'm so sorry, yes, it is a merchant 0027. And it acknowledges receipt of the open records request, correct?
On January 9th, I received that via the portal. We acknowledge receipt because you have a reference number. The answer is yes.
Okay. It doesn't say anything about whether responsive records exist.
Not on January 9th, that's the day I received it.
Doesn't say anything about proposed costs or when the records will be made available.
On January 9th, when I accepted it, no, I think that you have requested several open records requests. You've been given all the records, right, that we closed out free of charge. So there is not anything that from my office that would have a cost because I did not charge you on any open records requests that you provided.
I didn't ask that. I asked if it provided any proposed costs. Does this provide any proposed costs?
On January 9th response, this document that you put before me, January 9th, I acknowledge that it is a receipt number for tracking purposes. It is an acknowledgement of receipt and it's a description of the records you requested.
If you would scroll up, so on January 12th, someone wrote back, or I wrote, thank you, and I followed up, saying I was asking for the analytics, the contract, and the analytical reports. And I was asking, following up, when I could receive them.
3 days later, yes, it appears, I don't know, Ashley Merchant wrote, thank you, in follow-up. I also asked for, yes.
Okay. And then on January 11th, someone, either from your office or the county, said, please log into the portal and see attached emails, correct?
January 18th.
January 18th, I'm sorry, if I said it wrong.
So January 18th, based on this email, we gave you attached emails, and included in those emails, there were several different documents. So yes, I responded to this open record request on January 18th.
Did you type this or did someone else? Please log into the portal.
I did not type that.
The attached emails, did you provide those attached emails?
No, I did not.
Who provided those attached emails?
A member of my staff. A member of my staff. I do not know who provided that on January 18th, but I do know that this particular request, as you said, was pretty straightforward. So we responded and it was closed out. This wasn't elevated to me.
So you never saw this request? You were not involved in this request at all?
On this particular request based in the portal, I don't recall this being elevated to me on January 18th, no.
So you can't tell us what searches you performed looking for these documents?
I can tell you that.
You can.
Yes, this was a general request. It wasn't elevated to me. Critical mention is something that was always asked. I have several requests that are very similar to this. So I'm pretty sure, not this particular one, but one of critical mention was elevated to me and we responded the same way we did with most critical mention.
Who did you ask?
I'm sorry?
Who did you ask in response? You said you did ask somebody about these records. Who did you ask?
So with critical mention, you ask, based on this search, you will look and you will reach out to Jeff DeSantis. Hey, do you have any emails related to critical mention? After that, you will go to the IT department to confirm, see if they need responsive records.
Fulton County IT department.
Yes.
Okay. So Jeff DeSantis and Fulton County IT are the two. Okay.
Especially when you ask it for emails, the answer is yes.
But you don't know if you did that in this case.
I know that I did that in critical mention. I have 1,000 cases. So as it relates to this specific request, I cannot tell you that this particular case was elevated and this was on the top of my list.
And once someone makes a request like this, what steps do you take to ensure that the documents they're requesting are preserved?
Repeat that?
When someone makes a records request like this, as an example, what steps do you take as the records custodian to ensure that the documents they're requesting are preserved?
They are placed in a portal. once the portal is sent to you, I think that you have access to that, and I think that that is something that the portal does, and make sure that it is reserved. And I can have a copy if I needed to go back to those specific documents. So as it relates to you, this is when you and I are going to make sure we're not splitting the baby. But as it relates to the portal, they are reserved.
And we'll use this as an example and sort of walk through the request. So once you get a request like this, whether it's elevated or not, what are the steps your office takes to make sure that the documents I'm requesting aren't destroyed?
Typically, once documents that you're requested are placed in the portal, right, will maintain those particular documents, right? You have an email version, electronic file of those versions, so that's in the portal. So
So, and maybe I wasn't clear. So you're telling me how you maintain the document you give me. What I'm asking you is when I ask for critical mention documents here.
I can have a copy if I needed to go back to those specific documents. So as it relates to you, this is when you and I are going to make sure we're not splitting the baby. But as it relates to the portal, they are reserved.
And we'll use this as an example and sort of walk through the request. So once you get a request like this, whether it's elevated or not, what are the steps your office takes to make sure that the documents I'm requesting aren't destroyed?
Typically, once documents that you're requested are placed in the portal, right, will maintain those particular documents, right? You have an email version, electronic file of those versions, so that's in the portal. So
So, and maybe I wasn't clear. So you're telling me how you maintain the document you give me. What I'm asking you is when I ask for critical mention documents here, okay? And you get this request and you give me some of them. How do you make sure that they're all maintained?
So-
How do you all maintain them?
I'm gonna answer your question, I'm gonna make an assumption if I may, okay? I made a comment and I said that there was 40 open records requests. You looked and it appeared, assumption, emphasis on assumption that you was gonna go see how many open records requests you had.
Right, it's all there.
Yeah, so the answer to your question is, it's in the portal, it's all there.
No, that's why I didn't know if you understood my question. My question is not,
I
how
just
do you
repeated
preserve
you.
your
Hang on,
response?
don't talk over each other because the court reporter can't take it down.
My apologies.
That's okay. Ask your question and then you are free to respond in any way you wish.
I'm not asking how you preserve what you tell me you have. What I'm asking is how you preserve the documents inside of your office that I request, not the ones you give me, but the ones I've asked for.
If you ask for 5 invoices, right? I'll take those 5 invoices. Those 5 invoices is given to a staff member to provide to you. So the original copy of those invoices maintain wherever they are, right? You have a copy that's filed electronically, right? It is given into the portal. So if I understand your question correctly, 5 invoices. The 5 of those invoices are sent to someone on my staff. A copy of those invoices are uploaded to the portal. Those 5 invoices, the original copies, wherever you came from, continue to stay there. Did I answer your question?
Yes, so the originals continue to remain wherever they originally were.
It depends on the particular document. If you, in my example, I gave you invoices.
Right.
We do know that invoices are electronic, right? Well, I like to think that most invoices are electronic. So in those particular invoices, wherever they are on my particular file, they stay. A copy is employed to my staff member and then uploaded to the portal.
And let's go through some specific things that you gave me, and then we can sort of go back to that question because it might help.
Okay.
If you look, let's see, if you can pull up merchant 0029, on January 18th,
I know.
there was,
But this is what we're dealing with, y'all.
I received this packet that we talked about of emails uploaded to the portal.
It's in every office.
What you're looking at is the beginning of that packet, and it was 44 pages. That was in response to my original request discussing critical mention. You said you did not produce this document, correct?
No, I don't believe so.
Did you assist in retrieving these documents?
For these particular documents, no. These documents appear to be responsive to your open records request. It appears to be delivered to you on January 18th, and it appears to be responsive to your request.
You can look at 0055.
Ignorant, arrogant, entitled.
If you go down a little on this one, see where it's after Melissa Fritz, it says, PR, Fonnie Willis critical mention search. It's a different font, and then PR value for the week, and then there's a couple other things. This, and we now know, because we have the actual emails, we now know this is 4 or 5 different emails that were pieced together. Did you participate in the cutting and pasting of these documents?
Objection, Your Honor. Objection, Your Honor. Presumes that he cut and paste documents, and that was never established by his testimony, so we're objecting to that.
Okay, well, for now, I'm gonna sustain your objection to the characterization of the cutting and pasting. But you can certainly ask him if he participated in the creation or generation of this document that was produced to you, however it came to exist. So your objection is sustained to that extent, Ms. Monroe.
And Judge, I thought that was Mr. Bowman's witness. I might be mistaken, but I prefer not to tag team.
Well, I do agree. I apologize. Who is going to be examining this witness?
I will.
Oh, okay. Well, then fair enough.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Well,
I mean,
Mr.
generally-
Bowman had objected, so.
Yeah, generally speaking, whoever's going to be examining the witness is the one who should be controlling the objections. And I think Ms. Merchant's expressed concern was she thought Mr. Bowman was gonna question this witness, which would make your objection problematic. But since you're gonna be examining the witness, it's fine.
I'll frame for the honor.
Usually I just ask that you whisper in your partner's ear so they can then say the thing that you want them to say.
And I showed Mr. Bowman the documents because he had made the first objection, so I just was assuming that was the path, but I will check. Okay, so this document, however it was created, did you assist in the creation of this page?
No, I think you and I agree that the first request was straightforward. I don't think that this was elevated to me. On January 18th, no, it was not elevated to me.
Who compiled the document in the form that we see it in here today?
A member of my staff. That's an assumption. A member of my staff.
Okay, so you're assuming, but you don't know who compiled this?
Specifically,
Yes.
on January 18th, yes, this is a designated employee, yes.
You're positive it's a designated employee?
Well, okay. Yes, I'm positive I know who that is.
Who is it?
Erica Willingham.
Erica Willingham. So Erica Willingham is who we would need to ask, not you as the records custodian, about how this document was created.
I cannot answer that question. Let me explain why, right? Typically, emails are compiled in a certain kind of way, right? And those emails are compiled by IT, by staff. It may be compiled by going to reach out to various different persons. I cannot speak to that, so I cannot tell you if she personally, if the question was, did she compile? I do not know. I do know that she handled it as a member of my staff. I do know that she responded as a member of my staff. I can tell you that.
So you can't say as the records custodian that this is an accurate copy of an original document. Let's put it that way. You really don't know anything about this.
I do know something. I know it was a response to your request. So yes, I know something. I think you and I can agree on that.
Let's take a look at, I'm gonna jump out of order, I apologize. If you,
Oh, he's getting real fired up here.
I also know, if I may, that it was provided to you on January 18th. I also know that you received this particular document on January 18th. I also know, as you mentioned, that there was a second critical mention document. In that second critical mention, I know you referenced this before, right? I also know that once you referenced this before, you renewed a second critical mention document saying, hey, you gave me this on January 18th, I'm looking for A,
yes,
right?
and we're gonna
And
get there.
that's why you and I on the same page, didn't want it to be global. So I do know information as it relates to this particular request.
And we can actually go there right now. So I filed a second request because my initial request was closed when you all provided this 44-page document, right?
Yes, on January 18th, it was close.
So on January 18th, I refiled my request and I specifically referenced the original one and said, why are you closing this? You didn't give me everything.
If I can,
Yes,
I like the fact that you presented the first one and allowed me to read it. Can I read the second one?
of course, it is, let's see. I don't have the number off. The second one is. Merchant 0011. Oh, doesn't take a minute. There we go. So this one I said in regards to my prior request, and I referenced that number we just talked about, and I said I requested the critical mention documents, and I say the number. I said I got a set of emails, but I asked for the analytics and the documents that are clearly referenced and attached to those emails. I said reports with analytics were provided to the DA's office monthly. It appears from the emails that Jeff DeSantis, Fonnie Willis, Jeremy Murray, Pallavi Perkasa, Robin Bryant, and Rita Kepler may all have access to these reports on a regular basis. They're public media, paid for by public funds and subject to open records.
Yes, I did receive that. This was elevated to me, and
Yes.
I did respond to you.
Okay, so this one was elevated to you, and you definitely did respond. Before we get there, let's talk about what we were just talking about a minute ago about the I don't want to use the word cut and paste, the document, and I'm going to call it Merchant 55, that appears to have a compilation of several other emails contained within it. Okay, that document we were looking at a minute before, and you said you don't know who prepared that document, right?
I do not know who compiled that. I know who handled the file. I know who sent you the responsive document.
And you don't know where that person got the responsive documents. But you assume it was Jeff DeSantis, is what you said earlier.
I did not say that, ma'am.
You said you would reach out to Jeff DeSantis in Fulton County IT.
But he certainly wouldn't compile any documents for me.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
So who would compile them? Who would, and let's just look then. So you've seen, and can you show him again, Merchant 0055, just take a look at this document. So I'm gonna ask you to compare it to a different one.
Okay.
So just to make sure I'm clear, I thought that Mr. Bond said that he believed that Erica Willingham was the person who compiled the response at Merchant 0055.
I thought he said that she did, but that she would reach out to Jeff DeSantis and the county. First, he said he didn't know who provided it. He said that they would reach out to Jeff DeSantis and Fulton County IT.
Well,
And then
that's
later-
actually why I'm asking for clarification, to make sure we're all having the same conversation, because I understood you to be asking him about who compiled the document that was provided to you, not who obtained the information that was then determined to be responsive and compiled into a document that was provided to you. What I understood Mr. Bond to be saying was, this type of request, I would have reached out to DeSantis and maybe county IT,
Yeah.
and then it was compiled by this particular employee and provided to you.
And I'm not sure. That's the ultimate question. So let me try and be a little more clear then. This document, number 55, okay? It looks as though it's a compilation of other emails, okay? If you look after Melissa Frick's name, it says Fonnie Willis critical mention search, and then PR value for last week, and then there's that middle section we're talking about, middle section right here. There's no header to from or dates here, there's no header to from dates here, there's no header to from dates there. That, they all look like different emails, right?
I would agree with you.
Okay, so not using the word cut and paste, someone took these parts and put them all in one.
Objection, Your Honor. Is that a question, is a statement? I mean, if it's a question to
Well,
the,
he's an adverse witness, so she can cross-examine if she wants to, number one. Number two, I mean, the reason I said we're not gonna call it cut and paste is that assumes facts that are not yet evidence. Now, you can ask questions about assumptions that you're drawing from the appearance of the document, but that's why I said we're not gonna call it cut and paste. Now, I think the witness has called it a compilation, so why don't we call it that for a while until we decide that it's something else?
So this appears to be a compilation of several different emails into one.
I agree. Compilation, yes.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, that's okay, continue. We're here to learn from you, Paul. What were you gonna say?
No, I'm agreeing with you. That does appear to be a compilation of emails.
Okay. And can you pull up Merchant 0167? So there's a redacted section here, and then you can see under that, I sent a story via critical mention a few minutes ago, directly below. Okay? So this This and this and this were removed from that email. It just starts with, I sent a story via critical mention. All of that is not in that compilation document, right?
As it relates to the headers.
As it relates to, I'm sorry?
This.
Yes.
It does not appear to be so.
So this was all removed. And the document just starts right there.
I cannot tell you if it was removed. I think my testimony, Your Honor, is that this particular request came in January 8th, right? We responded on January 9th. On January 18th, we responded to the documents, right? Once we responded to the documents.
All right, guys. If anybody wants to go and check that out, it's in the description. We'll move on over to this. I've just got one more to show you. And then a couple of you have asked any news on Mickey. So the last time that I heard anything on Mickey's case, I think, yeah, we got stuck there just a second. So there was no bond set for Mickey. Appointed as a special prosecutor, still couldn't comment on a motive behind it. Jeremy Bartley was representing him, indicted by a grand jury last week. I don't think they've set a court date for anything on him just yet. Let's see, we suspect we'll have a judge here going forward in the next day or two, and we'll know who that is. Steele noted. Steele said prosecutors don't know at this point whether they will seek the DP in this case. As far as Letcher County, this is the county where Bartley wants the case to be tried. We believe we're standing a few feet from where this case should be tried, right here amongst Mickey Stein's peers, Bartley said. In court today, there were friends and family of Steins on one side and friends and family of Mullins on the other, much like the preliminary hearing in October held in Morgan County. And then it just tells. We do understand a lot more clearly than we did at the preliminary hearing, and we think that Mr. Steins has a very compelling defense, Bartley said. Bartley adds that this is a complex case, asking their community to withhold judgment and let the story play out in the courtroom. And then that was the end of that. So I don't think that they've set, and if they have, I haven't heard of it yet. I'll look tomorrow on some of that. This other case that I wanted to show you on. So, neighbors, police unalived man after serving warrant to the wrong home. This happened in Laurel County, Kentucky. There are a lot of questions surrounding the deadly pew-pew of a 61-year-old Laurel County man this week by London police officers who say they were there to serve a search warrant. I heard 5 pew-pews, said a neighbor who does not want to be identified. At least 5 times. Woke me up. I was laying on the couch. Neighbors are still in disbelief and looking for answers as to why London police were at the door of 61-year-old Doug Harless the night of December 23rd. One neighbor, that was 2 days before Christmas. One night before Christmas. One neighbor walked us through what they say happened that night. My wife looked out the back door and said, Doug's house is all lit up. At that time, we had seen several cop cars up and down the road, and I contacted his daughter. She sent her husband out here to find out that her dad was deceased. The cops had unalived him. London police say they were attempting to execute a search warrant at a home on Van Zant Road in Laurel County. In a press release, officers say Harless pointed a pew-pew at officers, and that's when an officer opened fire. Harless died as a result. Well, yeah, he armed himself thinking he was getting broke into, and they've unalived him. But now everything is breaking out. Whether the search warrant was for 489, which is right here on the corner, 2 doors down from Doug. They are looking for the guy that lives there in that house for a stolen weed eater. Neighbors say Harless was a victim, not a criminal. You think anybody's going to go to jail for this mistake? Carl Merritt and his wife lived just across the road and caught the pew-pew on their surveillance camera. Or do you think they'll have qualified immunity? Good faith immunity. It don't matter that they just unalived somebody. The wrong home. Well, it shows on the camera that there were police officers on his porch, and they announced that they were there, explained Merritt. They banged and banged and banged until they finally made their way through the man's door. And with not even making it completely through the door, they pew-pewed him. I mean, it was just that quick. Merritt says Kentucky State Police now has that surveillance footage. Family and friends of Harless, as well as the community, are looking for justice. He was a very quiet, humble person, says Merritt. Stayed to himself, never bothered nobody. For something like that to happen to that poor man, it hurts me, really. To think that somebody like that, especially in my backyard, being pew-pewed, in his own home. London Mayor Randall Weddle released this statement. The London City Police has released a statement, and my office will closely follow the investigation being conducted by the Kentucky State Police. My heart goes out to everyone affected by this incident. The family and friends of the individual remain in our thoughts and prayers, as well as the officers involved. I want to remind everyone that this is an open investigation, so I am limited in what I can say at this time. Let's allow the Kentucky State Police to thoroughly investigate this situation. Ain't that awful? Yep. Unalived for a weed eater. What do you think, our mommy? You got any comments?
Well, I think that's pretty sad that you go kill somebody for a weed eater.
A search warrant. They were supposed to be serving a search warrant over a stolen weed eater. Went to the wrong house.
And killed the man.
Yep.
And
And
I think that happens. I think that sounds like other things I've known that have happened. With them breaking them in the wrong house and shooting whoever was there.
well, tomorrow I'm gonna do a little piece on Sonia Massey. Sonia Massey was a little woman who had called the police thinking that she had heard a prowler outside her house. And the police come, and the police officer gives her a really hard time. And she rebukes him in the name of Jesus, and he pew-pews her. It's absolutely the most awful video body cam that I've seen. But we're gonna watch that one tomorrow and talk about it and stuff. So we'll have a good show tomorrow on that, and we're gonna be starting to look at the Sandra, the case up in Massachusetts. Was it the Karen Reed, because her trial is getting ready to start again. I think if it's not already started, I know they've been doing some hearings and stuff, but we're going to look at some of those cases too. We're in the hurry up and wait stage on the Mickey Steins case. They're not really releasing anything new right now. So we're hurry up and wait, hurry up and wait. All right, you got any good plans for tomorrow, Zelmy?
No, I'm pretty well free tomorrow.
Pretty.
I got the things I had to get done today. And I had lots of people help me, you and Jason, and I'm glad to get that over with. Something I've been wanting to do for 2 years or more.
Yeah, Mommy borrowed my truck today so she could go get her side-by-side fixed. So now we've got that there. She's got it there, and now she'll finally get it fixed. She can go riding up in the mountains. Yeah, go four-wheeling.
Mm-hmm.
All right, y'all. Well, we'll go ahead and close this one out. And tomorrow we'll take a look at Sonia Massey and a few.
Are you going to do that at 7?
Yeah, probably. I think 7 is a good time for us.
Okay.
It's a good time that everybody's kind of, the day's coming to an end and it's still not too late. So.
Mm-hmm. Well,
all right, y'all. Well, we'll see you tomorrow. Y'all have a great evening. Get lots of sleep.
That was a good one, educating people.
Well, yeah, I really learned a whole lot from that public records hearing, just because I didn't realize what all we are allowed to have access to. Like, I didn't know we could look at their time sheets and their time cards. And I was watching one earlier today where a very high up law enforcement fella really got in a lot of trouble over triple dipping his pay stubs. Like, he was getting paid by 3 different agencies in in one day. And we actually can look at those kinds of things. We can look and see what their pay invoices show, and we can look at all of the financial records for these kinds of departments. So, yeah, and I'm not very organized. I'm really not. I'm one of the most disorganized people that I know. But if I could figure out how to get some of this information, we could start looking at stuff like that. And I love it. I love it. Love it all. Anyway, you got anything else you want to say, Mommy?
No, I think it was good. It was good. You've been doing it for an hour and 20 minutes.
Yep. We're going to jump off. All right. Well, I love you, Mommy. I'll talk to you later, and we'll see you tomorrow.
I love you, girl.
All right. You guys have a great evening, and we'll see you tomorrow, 7 o'clock. Bye. Sweet dreams.